Hello and welcome. So this video is going to be on making a silicone sluice box mat mold. So in the last two videos I made this up, I ran it frontwards and backwards. It caught gold both directions. Backwards, from what I intended, worked even better than the other way. So, and I said in that video I would show everybody how I made the mold and how to go about it. I'm going to go ahead and just run through it start to finish. You can add your own variations, do what you want. So you can basically come up with any pattern or design you wanted to. So I'll just show you how I made mine and we'll go from there. So get this out of the way. Now I am going to make a whole new mat just for testing purposes and stuff. So start with a cookie sheet or something you can put in the oven. These are super cheap. You can either just go buy them. They're like you get a stack of 3 of them for like $4. You can either do that or steal one of the wife's old ones. And we're going to need a pound of Sculpey oven baked clay. You can get this at any craft store, or even I bought this at Walmart. It's like between $4 and $5 for a pound of it. And this is going to make a 5-inch mat, 5 by 12. I think this is 13 long, but this is going to work. I just cut 2 strips of cardboard, stuck them together, and this is going to be the thickness of the mold to start with. So I'll get this out of the package, and it is best to knead this stuff, roll it out, play with it so it's pliable and workable. Let me get this all worked in and we'll get it rolled out. Okay, now that we got the clay all rolled out, I just used a piece of PVC pipe. Then again, I wouldn't suggest using the wife's rolling pin. You might get into a little trouble there. But I just used a piece of PVC pipe, rolled it out. It's now 2 pieces of cardboard thick. And how I made the little half moons in my other mat was with a piece of PVC pipe. This is just a coupler of 3/4 inch PVC pipe, and I just notched it out. And that's how I indented it, because if you want to make a ridge on top of the mat, you're going to have to indent this, because this side up here is going to be the bottom of the mat when you do the mold. So we're going to make some ridges in the mat, and of course lay it out however you want. But I just spaced them out, got them all even, and just pressed down all the way to the bottom. Wiggle here. And we got a half moon there, or half a circle. Then I just came along right beside it. Make sure everything's even. There we go. And you have to kind of go back and forth just to move the clay around to keep this edge open. Like that. And then we just keep going all the way across. Go. And don't worry, there's reasons for all of it, and we'll tidy it up in the end. I'm just going to go kind of step by step and go through it and try and not make it extremely long. So I'll go ahead and get this all punched out, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I got my ridges all stamped out here, ready to go. Make sure all your ridges are pretty uniform. I just go over it a bunch of times just to make sure, you know, they didn't close down when the clay moved a little bit. That's all stamped out. Goes in your oven, and this stuff calls for 275 degrees for 15 minutes per 1/4 inch. That's what I got here, is close to a 1/4 inch, not quite. So we'll put her in the oven for 15 minutes. Of course, take the cardboard off. And if you want, now is a good time to trim up your mat. Make sure it's all even as you want it. But remember, the more you play with it, the more it moves around. So you can always trim up the silicone later too. Not that big of a deal. And if you messed up and you got some little ridges and stuff on there, we'll take care of that after it comes out of the oven. Because the more you mess with it, the more you end up screwing it up, I think. Like I just keep doing. So anyway, in the oven, 275. Well, it's out of the oven now and cooled down. And we got all these little humps and bumps on here, so we need to get it all level and smoothed out. These are raised up from indenting it, so it's not flat by any means. So I use a sanding sponge, and we'll just sand it down and make it all flat and even. So I'm going to go outside and do that, and then I'll be back and we'll continue on. Now that this is all sanded down and ready to go, I'm not sure, but you might be fine by just leaving this indented if you got a nice clean edge at the bottom. I go ahead and use a Dremel tool. This is El Cheapo one, 10 or 15 bucks at Harbor Freight. I'm getting down in here and just cleaning out these grooves. Cleaning out these grooves, just going down in here and taking it all the way down. So, yeah. Just take that all the way down and get it all smoothed out. And then I actually used, you got to glue this down to the mat too. So I went ahead before and just added super glue in here. And just glued that, and it evened it out and glued the mat down. That way when you pull the silicone off, it doesn't come off. I've been working on this one for a bit. This is going to take me some time, but I'm just cleaning out these grooves here. But I think I'm going to switch to the other mold. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you get it to that point, you got your grooves cleaned up. You can get ready to add your dimes on here. I just used Gorilla Glue to glue these onto the mold. I offset them back a little bit. This one I got to re-glue back on, so if you want your dimes back, they do come apart. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to use dimes. You could use any round object you want. Here's a little cutter. You can cut out clay and put on top. I think I'm going to do that on my next mold, see how that works. So just whatever desired thickness you want to make your little pocket. So I think, and then you're also going to need the depth for your silicone. You're going to put the silicone on here, and you got to find a depth. So for this one, I used 1/2 inch plywood, just 2 strips, and I Gorilla Glued it right down to the cookie sheet. So I think I'll go ahead and get set up. We'll go outside and we'll just do one silicone mat. I know a lot of you have probably already seen that process, but hey, you might pick up something new, you might not, but we'll just show you how it's done. And now we're ready to put the silicone on the mat. This is my method. It works pretty good. You got Dawn dish soap in here and water. So my trick is that I've said about 50-50. It's not that. It's not 50-50. But if you put your silicone in here. You might want to do a small bit to test it first. If it doesn't clump together and ball up after you squirt it in there, you've got too much soap. If it stays sticky and you can't work with it, you don't have enough soap. So that's one tip. This mat takes just over a tube and a half of silicone. I cut it down using the cutter on my gun. I cut it off as far as I can. I get about 50 squeezes per tube, so I'll do a whole tube and about 25 squirts of silicone into the water. If you want to add color to your mats, just make sure you get it like a container and squirt your silicone into that. Mix in food coloring for whatever color you want, and then put it in the Dawn dish soap water mixture. To me, it's not that big of a huge deal right now, so forgot my gloves, and I did start wearing gloves just because the silicone doesn't seem to stick to the gloves as bad as your hands. So let me run in and grab them. Okay, let's squirt this in here. You want to be fairly quick about it because this starts to set up in the silicone or in the water mixture. So you got to work with it pretty. Don't squirt it in there and wait 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, we got it in there. Now I just want to knead it together. Get it to clump together. This is why you can't do too much at one time. You got to be able to handle it. Now get the excess water off. Hope this is still in the camera. Excess water off. I start at one end and just you want to force it down into those grooves. Don't let it come apart. Keep it all one mass because it probably won't stick back together. This is how I've been doing it. Probably could be perfected, but this seems to work the best for me. And push it down in there real good. Then what I like to do is just turn it around and get it all even there. I'll just use my hand and move it around and press down and press it all down into those grooves as well as you can. If it comes apart, you won't be able to form it back on. It won't stick back together. As long as you keep it one solid piece, it'll hang together. I'm going to trim up these edges, so I don't care about that. And there we go. So we'll let that dry for, I don't know, I think you can, it depends on how much soap mixture and how fast it reacts. And what I've noticed, different silicones react differently, but I'm thinking a good half hour should do it. If it's not dry, you didn't have as much dish soap in there, don't worry, just let it dry. The mat's been sitting drying for about a half an hour, and we're ready to pull it out of the mold. There we go. And there we have it. Nice mold there. That one turned out really nice. Everything's pretty. Oh, the fumes will get you when you pull it out. But now it's ready to be trimmed up and put your sections together that you make. I just use silicone. After I trim it, I run a bead of silicone in between them, stick them together. They seem to hold up just fine. So that's how you make the mold, and I'm getting that out of my way. And outside, it's stinking. Anyway, that's how you make the mold. I'm going to keep working on this one. Try a couple different things. But that's how you do it, and that's how you make the silicone mat and the mold. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye now.